Hello students, welcome to the Kelvin-Planck statement. Kelvin-Planck statement is the part of second law of thermodynamics. Kelvin-Planck statement states that it is like this. It states that it is impossible to construct the heat engine. It is impossible to construct the heat engine whose entire purpose is to convert total heat energy to mechanical energy. The Kelvin-Planck statement states that it is impossible to construct a heat engine whose entire purpose is to convert total heat energy to work energy or mechanical energy. You know, the heat energy is coming under low grade energy. That is the reason only a part of heat energy can be converted to work energy. Full heat energy cannot be converted to work energy. That means according to Kelvin-Planck statement, it is impossible to construct a heat engine whose entire purpose is to convert total heat energy to work energy means at least two thermal reservoirs are required for constructing the heat engine, one for supplying the heat energy and other for receiving the heat energy. So Kelvin-Planck statement is talking about the sources or reservoirs. Reservoirs means hot reservoir may be like this. This may be the hot reservoir. This hot reservoir can also be called as hot source. Second one is cold source. Cold source can also be called as cold reservoir. Cold source or cold reservoir. As we know, the hot source is one. It can maintain the constant temperature irrespective of the heat which is transferring from the hot source. Similarly, the cold source is one. It can maintain the constant temperature though it is continuously receiving the heat energy from outside. Anyhow, the hot source is one. It can give infinite amount of heat energy without dropping the temperature. Example, sun. The cold source is one. It can receive infinite amount of heat energy without raising the temperature. Example is atmospheric air, river water, sea water, etc. Even if you dump the bucket of hot water in the river water temperature cannot be changed at observable rate. Therefore, river water can be treated as the cold source. Anyhow, in between the hot source and cold source, I am going to connect the heat engine. This is the heat engine. This heat engine can develop the work as long as it is working in the cyclic manner. For this heat engine, the hot source may be giving Q1 amount of heat energy. As we know, a part of the heat energy only converted to work energy. Only a part of the heat energy is converted to work energy. Remaining part of the heat energy is dumped to the surroundings. So anyhow, the hot source is giving Q1 amount of heat energy to the heat engine. Only a part of heat energy is converted to work energy. The remaining is dumped to the cold source. According to first law of thermodynamics, this work energy given by the heat engine equal to difference between these two energies, Q1 minus Q2. Otherwise, let us connect the energy balance equation for the heat engine. Energy entering to the heat engine must be equal to energies leaving from the heat engine. energy entering to the heat engine is Q1, energy leaving from the heat engine W plus Q2. From this, work energy given by the heat engine equal to Q1 minus Q2, where Q1 equal to heat supplied to the heat engine, Q2 equal to heat rejecting from the heat engine. Now the performance of the heat engine is measured in terms of efficiency. That efficiency denoted by eta, efficiency of heat engine denoted by eta equal to output by input. Output means work output. Divided by heat input is Q1. Then it can be written as this W, W equal to Q1 minus Q2, divided by Q1. It is equal to 1 minus Q2 by Q1, where Q1 equal to heat supplied to the heat engine, and Q2 equal to heat rejecting from heat engine. That is the performance factor or efficiency of the heat engine. From this you can conclude that at least 2 thermal reservoirs are required for constructing the heat engine. So once again recall the Kelvin-Planck statement. It is impossible to construct the heat engine whose entire purpose is to convert total heat energy to work energy. Here mechanical energy is also called work energy. You can also construct the heat engine practically with more than 2 reservoirs also. But at least one must be for supplying the heat and at least one must be for receiving the heat. Then only the practically heat engines can be constructed or practically heat engines can be existing. With this Kelvin-Planck statement briefly completed, the remaining part we will discuss like this. According to Kelvin-Planck statement, no heat engine can be constructed to work with only one thermal reservoir. Remember, if any heat engine can be constructed to work with only one thermal reservoir, that kind of heat engine is called PMM2. PMM2 means perpetual motion machine of PMM2 means perpetual motion machine of second kind. After completion of this one, we will also discuss the PMM1, that is called perpetual motion machine of first kind. PMM2 means a fictitious machine. Fictitious means imaginary. A fictitious machine which works with only one thermal reservoir is called PMM2. It is like this. Let the PMM2. For this PMM2, you are supplying the heat from the hot source. Q1. The PMM2 can convert complete heat energy to work energy. Here W equal to Q1. That means indirectly the amount of heat rejected to surroundings equal to 0. This is the PMM2. For this PMM2, the efficiency of the PMM2 equal to output by input. The output equal to W, input energy equal to Q1, but W equal to Q1, therefore it is giving 100% efficiency. So PMM2 gives 100% efficiency means it is completely converting the heat energy to work energy or low grade energy to high grade energy, because heat energy is coming under low grade energy, work energy is coming under high grade energy. Anyhow, a fictitious machine which works with only one thermal reservoir is called PMM2, or a fictitious heat engine which maintains 100% efficiency is called PMM2, or a fictitious machine which converts complete low grade energy to high grade energy can also be called as PMM2. Practically, PMM2 is impossible. If it is possible, the second law of thermodynamics violates, or particularly Kelvin-Planck statement violates. That is about the PMM2. Once again, PMM2 means a fictitious machine which gives 100% heat, which converts a fictitious machine which converts 100% of low grade energy to high grade energy is called PMM2. Practically, PMM2 is impossible. If it is possible, second law of thermodynamics violates. Now let us talk about the PMM1, perpetual motion machine of first kind. Perpetual motion machine of first kind. The definition is like this: a fictitious machine which takes continuously input energy without giving any output, and vice versa, is called PMM1. It is like this. The PMM1 takes continuously input energy, but it does not give any output energy. It does not give any output energy. The output energy equal to 0. Similarly, a fictitious machine which gives continuously output energy, this is the PMM1, without taking any input energy. It gives continuously output energy without receiving any input energy means indirectly it is creating the energy. It takes continuously input energy without giving any output energy means it is destroying the energy. According to first law of thermodynamics, energy creation and energy destroying not practically possible. Therefore, practically PMM1 is also not possible. If PMM1 is possible, the first law of thermodynamics violates. Anyhow, PMM1 means an imaginary machine which continuously receiving the heat energy without giving any output energy, or which gives continuously output energy without receiving any input energy, is called PMM1. Practically, PMM1 is not possible. If it is possible, the first law of thermodynamics violates. That is about the PMM1 and PMM2. Anyhow, PMM1 is violating the first law of thermodynamics. You can also say like this: a kind of machine which violates the first law of thermodynamics is called PMM1. A kind of machine which violates the second law of thermodynamics is called PMM2. So one more PMM is also there, that is PMM3. Right, as per your syllabus point of view, PMM3 is not required. Anyhow, that is about the PMM1 and PMM2. With these students, I am ending this video. In the next video, I'll try to clearly explain the Carnot heat engine and Carnot cycle. Thank you very much.